The writer prefers to speak after the extract, so we're going directly into the first extract. And the play is called Threads of Love and Liberation by Imaan Latif.
Would you like to learn to sing? Would you like to sing my song? Would you like to learn to love me best of all?
And so, we must recognize that our identities are not just intersecting. They are also deeply entangled. The struggle of a queer Muslim feminist is not just about claiming space, but also about redefining it, reshaping it with our lived experience and our aspirations. Thank you.
Fatima, hi. Assalamu alaikum. Your presentation was incredible.
Walaikum salam, thank you.
I'm Alia Khan. I run a boutique in Cape Town called Threads of Liberation.
Always wonderful to meet fellow creatives. Your boutique sounds interesting. Threads of Liberation, right?
Yeah. Where fashion meets activism. At least that's what I hope people feel when they visit. Like your research, I believe, clothes have their own stories to tell.
That's a beautiful philosophy. I'd love to visit Threads of Liberation sometime.
I'd love to dress you up sometime. Let's swing by the boutique and maybe we can discuss it further over coffee. Might be.
I'd love that.
Welcome to Threads of Liberation. So what do you think? Each piece is inspired by stories of resilience and freedom. It's refreshing actually.
Yeah. I've met impressive characters, but life's been challenging. Balancing research and teaching is exhausting. It definitely takes a toll on my mental health.
I completely understand. Pressure to be perfect, to succeed in everything we do.
It's overwhelming.
I deal with anxiety myself, and meeting so many different characters at the festival initially was wrecking me. And I didn't even host any of the sessions. But then I gave into the adventure. And who knows what perfect creature one might find when being adventurous. Right?
Indeed. Although a panel discussion on perfect creatures dressed with threads of liberation might also be very interesting.
So, tell me more about your work, your research. What inspired you to focus on queer theory and intersectionality?
Growing up,
The same way about fashion.
yeah? Tell me more.
Well, it's so much more than just clothes. It's about making a statement, challenging norms. But it's not easy, is it? Balancing identities with our passion and our mental health.
It's a constant struggle, but moments like this, where we connect and support each other, make it all worthwhile.
What does she want from me? Are we Muslim sisters, friends, or dare I say lovers? She didn't explicitly say she is also into women. Is this all moving too fast? Salam. Thought you could use a break. Bought you some lunch.
It's 3 o'clock. Lunch.
Okay, late lunch. Look out your office window.
You're a lifesaver. It's been one of those days.
Want to talk about it?
I feel like I'm suffocating, I'm drowning.
We're in this together, okay? Remember that.
Your support means a lot to me.
Let's chat further over lunch, shall we?
Oh, what am I even feeling about this woman? Maybe her queerness is just abstract. Oh, what's this sapphic hysteria? Is this what it's about? I have to find that article. I have to find the reference. Oh, okay, Fatima. Just breathe. Just breathe.
Lunch. That's all it is.
It's only lunch.
So, I supplied a mix-up, and that's how I ended up with a boutique full of mismatched fabrics.
That's hilarious. But like you always do, you turned it into something beautiful.
Always seeing the best in everything. That's what I love about you. Your turn.
My turn. For what, exactly?
To tell me what you love about me.
Your strength, your kindness, your smell, the way you fill my life with sweetness every day.
It does feel like we can face anything as long as we do it together.
Alhamdulillah, here's us and the beautiful journey.
Adventure. Beautiful adventure.
The beautiful adventure.
Just waiting. Thank you. Imaan, I think you need to first. In your bio, you've got a very interesting, diverse kind of involvement in different. I think you need to give a little bit of background about yourself because you don't necessarily come out of theatre.
Hi everyone. So this is actually the first time that I see my work being shown on stage in South Africa. The first time was in Copenhagen for World Pride. And that was during COVID, so I didn't actually get to see what it could look like, which is really interesting. So my background is I'm a Kundalini teacher and a fine art student. And I really wanted to see queer Muslim romance happen, like being manifested in reality. And I've been writing stories in fictional ways, analyzing them, just to understand like what is going on with this identity politics, the internal conflicts, the external conflicts. Yeah.
And do you have anything that you want to say about, because you didn't do an introduction, anything else that you want to say about the play and the structure of the play and where it's going and, you know, is it a full play already? I mean, it's still a play that's working?
Yeah, so there's a full play that's focused on these two characters. It's focused on thinking about how to present this kind of intersectional identity to audiences that do not relate, particularly based on identity, but can relate on the nuances of the inner landscape struggles, the conflict, mental health issues, how you relate to one another in relationships. The yogis say that relationships are the highest form of yoga. And so we find that in life, we attract a partner that either mirror our internal conflict or is there to complement whatever dynamics happening with us. But something that I was thinking along the way was, do queer Muslim feminists ever get happy endings?
And tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, why do you ask that question? I would think, I mean, my immediate gut reaction would be, of course. But I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. I mean, it would be great, but there's so many obstacles that make it impossible. Not just Islamically as a religion, but also the different societies. Yeah, so far from my 32 years of life, I've not met any happy Muslim feminists that have settled down. So I'm writing also to write the past, the present, the future, the possibilities, the impossibilities. If we can't see it in real life, maybe we can see it on stage.
And is there a happy ending in this plan?
There is not. There is not. This is the first part. This is the first day.
Okay.
So we do need to create some tension and like appetite for the audience to see like, okay, you can see what they're struggling with. You can see the dynamics, you can see what's going on. But we can't satisfy something that's not real, you know. We do play to escape in art often, but we also need to settle in our minds, like why things are the way it is, or you know, you might be looking at something from the outwards and not really understanding what's the whole big deal about. And so perhaps we can find out together what's going on.
If we look at your play, the one you've written, How does it? How would you accept for the facts of two Muslim women in a relationship, or falling in love in a relationship, not happy in England? How would you say the within the play? How does it differ from other queer plays or gay plays? How do you tackle that differently? And what are those specific issues, scenes that we might not have seen?
One of the issues is the daughter of a family. Many cultures represent and symbolize like the honor of the family. And so if they deviate, they bring about dishonor to the family. That's one of the reasons why the relationship ends. Not because they don't love each other, but there's too much up against them for them to reach that love. We could even feel like it's not allowed, like it's not acceptable socially, but also internally because of the history of patriarchal scripts. What is expected of you, the words, phrases like, it's such a waste of a woman. For a woman that doesn't have a baby, for example, it's a waste of a woman, or a waste of a woman because she's not married, or she's not finding her respectable role in society. And so sometimes, or often, the anxiety that is felt by these characters is from following their own script. Like there's this pattern that you fall into, and there's a lot of confidence with that because it's been walked through many times. But now that I carve my own path, there's a lot of uncertainties in that way, and so we see uncertainty in the form of anxiety, in the form of, at the end, we've seen how the character is hyperventilating after having a really soft, slow, central moment. Her reaction is not to feel soothed, it's to hyperventilate. Why is that?
I've got a question, but I'm going to open it up to the audience. Comments, questions? Then I'm going to go to Leslie Ann and Tracy. Because you've read the play, can I hand in the microphone to you? Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Imaan. I always appreciate a narrative like this because it points to how do we cope? What is the healing factor? Where is the redemption? For me, watching this piece and after having read the play, I think there's lots of room for humor. I would love for that to happen because it's a romance at the end of the day. And not to make light of any situation, but I think when you start off or embark on a romance, that there's also, with the love, there is the laughter. I think that would be a lovely polar opposite to the fear, the anxiety, and the sadness. Perhaps that would help more in terms of addressing the problem. Thank you.
Do you have that in the book?
Yeah, definitely. There's different types of humor. I think the clumsiness of our nerves is a type of humor as well, like the clumsy interactions, the awkward reactions to someone being attracted to you that you never thought, or even someone showing the attraction to you in a humorous way. Yeah, I'm thinking about it in that way, and not the conventional theatre humor.
There's only character-wise only the two actors, right?
No, there's more characters.
How many characters?
10 in total.
10 characters. Who are the others? Can you just sketch that for us?
Nemesis of the protagonist, a jealous ex, family member, sister, Best friend, that's a gay character, that he definitely brings in the humor.
Okay. The comments, there's a right there at the back, yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks, Imaan, for sharing your story with us. So my question slash comment, I wholeheartedly appreciate, I value, I respect, the topic, the issue, that you as a human being, as the playwright, are dealing with. And I guess my question is, your controlling idea, your beliefs, regarding this particular topic, very relevant topic. Is it your protagonist's story? Is it your protagonist's beliefs? And I ask this because what oftentimes writers are told is yes, you may have a certain POV, point of view, about a particular issue or topic, but with regards to the story that you're trying to tell, is that necessarily the story of your protagonist? So that's my question, if it makes any semblance of sense. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. It definitely makes sense. And that was my anxiety for Teksmark itself, because I know this is the first time I'm seeing my play as well. I've never seen it. I've never seen it in rehearsal, so it's the first time that I've seen how it's translated to by other people. And I'm still thinking about it, about the way that it was expressed. But the key aspect to this is both characters are protagonists, and they both are antagonists as well, because at the end of the story, they are the reasons why they downfall. So in a way, their internalized conflicts has gotten the better out of them. I think that would be the main point of the story. And then using these different identities as lenses to look at social politics and cultural nuances. I also feel like Islam has taken a really big narrative in the news and in the world and in politics at the moment. And there's so many other aspects of Islam that's not war focused that we can pay close attention to.
Thank you so much. I think it's important to tell these stories. Thank you for joining us. Next up is Ter Hollmann. You want to speak beforehand? With his play Postcards.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for choosing to spend the day engaging with our stories. We appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here. Postcards. As this play started to take gestation about 20 years ago, I had thought of an image in my head of someone tied to a chair, waiting. And the question in my head was why were they there, how did they come to be there, and how do they get out of this? A lot of the play is fairly simple. It's about a journalist who comes to interview a revolutionary leader. He's been chosen and he doesn't know why, because he's not a particularly successful person. And as the first act plays out, he begins to learn why he's there. And in the second act, he comes back 10 years later to interview this revolutionary leader who is now the president of the country, having won the revolution. And we see how the power dynamics have changed with both of them having achieved a certain amount of success and power. It's a play that explores the ideas of corruption, oppressive systems, and how easy it is to take those little steps, each one in themselves not being particularly important or noticeable, but when you look back, suddenly you realize you compromise yourself entirely. It's a two-act play. It's a pretty conventional setup. 3 characters with 3 performers. Enjoy, I suppose.
Is someone there? Hello? Who's there? Can you untie me? Look, I understand the necessary subterfuge, but it was you who brought me here.
I'm terribly sorry for the delay.
Are you the general?
No,
Well, do you know where he is?
I'm afraid he has been detained and has sent me to apologize.
Okay. Would you take off the blindfold?
I'm afraid the general has given me strict instructions that you are to remain as you are until he returns.
I understand.
Again, my apologies. Now, is there anything I can get you?
Well, I would ask for a cup of coffee, but how could I drink it?
With difficulty. I understand. Hopefully the general will be here shortly.
Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully.
Hello? Are you the general?
No, it's me again. But some good news. The general has arrived.
Fantastic. Can you untie me now?
No, I'm afraid he has left me with strict instructions that you are to remain as you are.
Yes, I understand.
Not long now.
Not long now.
Hello, Harry.
Hello, could you please get me the general?
Harry, I am the general.
Oh, well, at last.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Did my comrade explain that I was unavoidably detained?
Yes, she did.
Come here. Let me have a look at you. Ah. That's better, right?
Yes, thank you.
Again, I apologize for the clandestine behavior.
Oh, not much I can do, so apology accepted?
Well, you could write to your MP and complain.
I think this is a bit beyond her remit.
Again, I apologize. It's my pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure shared. I would shake your hand, but, you know.
Touché.
Would you mind?
Well, I guess it would add some weight to my apology.
A great deal thereof.
Right. Very well then. Better?
Oh, much. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for agreeing to this interview.
Well, I would have been a fool to say no.
Well, the story does come with a small amount of risk.
I suppose so.
So, am I what you expected?
I'm not sure what I expected.
You expected something. A preconceived notion. Buried in your head somewhere, some image. I was wondering how I measure my comportment, my height, my presence, my first impression.
You compare quite favorably to my ideal. You're tall. I imagined you tall. You have a commanding presence. You were the poster boy for a revolutionary hero. I can see your image adorning the walls of posters of students on T-shirts. You might just be the next Che Guevara.
That pleases me. It shouldn't, but it doesn't. I love the idea of my face plastered all over T-shirts. My inner capitalist. But the real question is, can I make the transition from revolutionary leader to political leader?
Well, history would suggest no.
History aside,
I don't know you, only your deeds, and who knows if those are even true or not. But given a good suit, gain a couple more kilos, in image at least you'll look the part. Most people manage that. Governing a country, doing what's best for others at the expense of yourself. Most people expect you to fail.
well, hopefully I can change your mind. Don't underestimate the importance of image. No one eats kittens.
Well, unless you're starved.
Well, many of our people are. So, when you sit down to write the story, where will you begin?
The general. The general is not a punctual man.
Touché.
Why me?
Sorry?
Why am I here? Why did you choose me?
I like the way you write. You have a nice turn of phrase.
Please, I'm a hack. I write celebrity gossip. I ruin people's lives and pass it off as freedom of speech. I don't care about your revolution.
If you don't care, then why are you here?
Well, it's the scoop of the century, the chance to interview the reclusive leader of the revolution. Do you know how much I can sell this?
So, you're just here for money,
Yes.
but you cared once.
No, not really.
If you care about nothing but money, you don't go into journalism.
Touché.
The law, business, politics maybe, but you don't just become a writer. I'm willing to bet that once long ago, a young man stood in front of a bedroom mirror, thanking his friends and family without whom he would not be here holding his Pulitzer Prize.
Perhaps once long ago I wanted to change the world, make it a better place, but I assure you that person is long gone.
That person is truly never gone. He's buried deep inside, waiting for an opportunity to prove himself.
And you are here to give me that chance.
You're such a cynic.
It's a necessary requirement of the job.
I know an idealist is still in there somewhere.
Oh, fuck off.
Tea?
Pardon?
Tea.
Oh, coffee, thank you.
Black, no sugar.
Lucky guess?
You're a journalist.
Oh, it's good to know I'm also a cliché. How do revolutionaries take their coffee?
We prefer tea.
Of course.
If you'll excuse me, I'll put the kettle on. I'm afraid this revolution is rather hands-on.
Well, I imagine it must be. And what is it that you do here?
Me?
Yes.
Not much. I'm invisible.
Invisible.
It's a special skill.
It must be nice to be invisible.
Sometimes, but not always. Everyone wants to be seen at some point.
So it's not something you can turn on and off, the invisibility, I mean.
No.
That must be difficult.
Thank you so much for your concern.
How is he?
He is not the man you think he is.
People never are, but is he a good man?
He wants to be, which is something, I suppose.
So he isn't a good man.
He's a get the job done kind of man, but he also has appetite.
Appetites.
Good food, nice clothes, alcohol. He likes women. He likes them young. He likes to fuck around.
I've heard that it's more than fucking around.
Oh, what have you heard?
I mean, what people say.
People?
You know, the chit-chatterers.
And what do they say, these chit-chatterers?
They say he raped someone.
And do you believe them?
I think so. Why would they lie?
I can think of lots of reasons why.
Sure, but it didn't feel like that.
Can you be trusted?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
To do the right thing. Can you be trusted?
One copy?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
My pleasure. You seem flustered. Is everything okay?
Oh, yes. Yes. You are terribly nice for a revolutionary.
Oh, I blame the English.
They do seem to be taking a lot of the blame these days.
Well, they did bugger up the world, although you wouldn't know if you'd spoke with them.
They do have a rather high opinion of themselves.
And completely oblivious. Do you know I won a Rhodes Scholarship to study at Oxford?
I did not know that.
Politics. I have a PhD in politics because an Englishman oppressed my forefathers, stole what was rightfully theirs, and used a fraction of that money to pay for me to go to a British university, to learn how wonderful the British contribution is to the world.
Do you love the English?
I do too. Smoke?
Pardon?
Smoke. Cigarette.
No, thank you.
You don't smoke?
Afraid not.
Now that's against type, wouldn't you say?
I don't think so. No one smokes anymore. You should think about quitting. It really could be good for your image. I can see it now. Nice revolutionaries don't smoke, so should you?
I'm afraid it's my downfall. I love these bloody things and I intend to love them to the grave. Even if it's an early cancerous, heart-riddled with disease grave.
Well, I think every nice man should have at least one vice, although I suspect you may have a few more. Just to let the people know that maybe he's not so nice.
Still, cigarettes were an unfortunate choice. It makes running up and down this mountain a damn sight hard. The damn things will kill you, haven't you heard?
So they say. But we live in violent times, and as bad as they are, I've never seen a cigarette walk into the streets and blow someone's head off.
I like you.
I feel like it's my first day at school and I'm trying to impress the teacher.
Except the teacher won't kill you if you're bad.
He won't strike me as someone who would blow my head off if I happen to say the wrong thing.
Oh, it's amazing how one could get the wrong impression from somebody right from the start.
Careful, my pen might slip.
Not if you buried in the forest.
Speaking of pens,
I suppose we should get on with why you came here.
how does this work?
You ask the questions, I'll answer.
Okay, so do we do this here? Are there any questions I can't ask? How long do I have it? Is there anything else I should be aware of?
It's easy. Yes, you may ask absolutely anything. I can't promise that I will answer everything. We have as long as we have, and nothing that I can think of.
Can I use a recording device?
No. In fact, you can't use anything.
Then how am I supposed to recall everything accurately?
You just do your best. And you'll be fine.
All right. But I take no responsibility if you misquote it.
You're the media. I expect to be misquoted.
I would never intentionally misquote anyone.
No, maybe you wouldn't, but it's not entirely up to you. Everyone has their own agenda. Me, you, your editor, the publisher. It's not always up to you. Just do your best. And you'll be fine.
Do my best. Let's start off with the obvious question. How did you get here?
Chance, I suppose.
Chance.
Thank you.
That's it. Fine, there we go. Well, when did you write this?
Over sort of the past 20 years. So I had the idea about 20 years ago. The first draft was probably written about 15 years ago. And I kind of left it alone for a bit. And then over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, in and out of other work that I've been doing, it's sort of a piece I kept on coming back to. So I don't know, I was hanging on to it and suddenly I thought I've got to put it out in the world at some point. So,
And it's here. It's out in the world. Is it a? It's a full play. It's already written. It's
second draft.
okay. Well, several drafts over 20 years, I suppose. Tell me, and I couldn't help but just think about. Did you ever see? I mean, it's completely different, but have you ever seen on the art of killing, the documentary?
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a completely different kind of setup, but anyway, just a reference. My question would be that it's the setting of the play. Is it? It's here in this setting. It stays in the one setting.
It's true. I mean, they relate to each other. The one's in the jungle hideout, the other one's in the presidential office. But they're supposed to mirror each other. I mean, just design-wise, you could do it with a table and a chair, or you could have a jungle replete with palm trees and mosquitoes, and then a presidential palace. You know, whatever you want. I would imagine somewhere in between. Nice.
I'm going to open it up for comments from the audience. Otherwise, I'm going to. And Tracy's got her hand up.
Thanks, Ter. I loved it when I read it. And when I was reading it at the time of the run-up to the elections, both in South Africa and in the UK. I think what's particularly interesting about it is, although it kind of seems to be like a, South African context, it could actually be any corrupt leader anywhere in the world.
Tracy, just be a little bit louder.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Yeah, so when I was reading it, it was in the run-up to the elections, South African elections and the UK elections, and it could have been applicable to either of them. So I'm interested that you wrote it so long ago and yet that it's still so relevant. And I was wondering, when you were writing it, did you have a specifically South African context in mind, or have you got a broader kind of corruption, politics?
So, I mean, I think corruption is universal. I'm South African and African first, so whilst it's set in a generic place, I wanted it to be something that could be formed anywhere. It's still rooted here. And the dynamics that exist first in South Africa and then in Africa, the kind of corruption that we see here, and my experiences of it. But yeah, I mean, the idea was to not pinpoint it, it's not a true story or a story set in South Africa. It could be, in terms of how I've written it, it doesn't state where it's at. And other than the name Harry, the names are all generic. It's the president, the general, the assistant, each state the assistant throughout. So I mean, the idea was to let it be where you want it to be.
And then just another question in terms of the assistant. I mean, I really like the humor in the play throughout. I think that although it deals with really serious subject matters, I think it's got a lot of like really quirky one-liners in it. How do you see that role of the kind of assistant in the play?
Well, I mean, she obviously has her story unfolds throughout the play, where she actually becomes more prominent, especially in the second act. Sort of speaking to the power dynamics again of gender in terms of revolution and the politics of the women in the background, and especially during the revolution where the patriarch is kind of quite strongly entrenched there, and for the most part, the women who were these assistants helping, cooking, cleaning, or whatever, were silenced, were taken advantage of it. So I mean, throughout the play, the general is handsy and he's on her, and he's, she's fighting the whole time, but at the same time she's quite strong and she wins a lot of those battles. But it's a constant fight, it's a constant challenge. And then slowly, through the second act, she becomes angry and louder. And then she takes, towards the end, center stage. Still kind of compromised ending, but,
Thanks very much.
Can you give it away?
Can I give it away?
Ending, yeah.
Yeah, sure, if you want. So, yeah, both the general and the journalist Harry turn out to have weaknesses. The general has raped several young girls. The journalist was in fact a spy for the state during his university years. So they hold this over each other as they both ascend to power. And they use each other to become, obviously, the general becomes the president of the country, and the journalist starts his media empire. So it becomes very wealthy, and they use each other to become more and more successful. And then, as we come to the end of the 10 years, it's looking more and more likely like the president at this point is going to lose power to the opposition party, and the journalist wants to ingratiate himself with the new people coming to power. So he comes in with a set of photographs to blackmail the general and ultimately say, switching allegiances. And the general pays him off how much they reach an agreement, and then the assistant comes in and she shoots the journalist, and then uses what she knows to hold the president to account.
Okay. Because that's what I wanted to ask, kind of in this integration, in this whole kind of relationship that's both between the journalist and the general and then the assistant, what, ultimately, what are you trying to, is there a way, are you humanizing or not humanizing? Are you, it's a general, you obviously see because you play a little bit with this kind of a nice guy, he's charming and what are you trying to do in the end? Is it kind of, where does that come from? Where does his intent to be grew up? Is that what you're investigating throughout?
To some degree, certainly. It's very much the small steps that you take, a little compromise here, the bottle of whiskey that you take, looking the other way over there. It doesn't seem like it's just a bottle of whiskey or whatever it is. There are incidences throughout the play that you look back and go, oh, okay, I don't like who I've become. It's not why I started this. But I don't want you to not like them. They're human beings. They're not evil. They're not. They all start off with good intentions. Both men start off wanting to be good. And you do like them. They're smart, they're clever, they're funny. But by the end of the show, you don't like them. I mean, they're bad people by the end of it. But you still understand how they got there.
Yeah. There's one around there.
Hello, am I audible?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, that's great.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about the smoking scene where he was smoking. Like, was that intentional, like a sort of like a foreshadowing of like all the bad things that he's going to do, all the addictions that he has had, all those things?
So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was foreshadowing, but it is an insight into a man who likes vices, who likes things that are bad for him, making the wrong choice in that. It's like having that cigarette is always the wrong choice to make. But when you want it, you want it. But, yeah.
I can't see any hands. Comments? No, thank you so much.
So that's a
really fascinating topic to investigate. Thank you. Next up, I just have to say that this is a first for us. So, ek het maak 'n oproep na die skrywers toe om hallo, ek het so baie met my part doen, ek het part doen en ek bel vir Ethan beste. En ek praat met Ethan, ek sê Ethan, maar wat doen jy die dag? En jy weet wat dat jy nie skryf nie, wat doen jy? En hy sê nee, ek gaan skool. Wat? Algeval, soos die eerste vir ons, Ethan, ek het hom hier langs my kom staan, dat ons, hoe oud is hy? 17? Ja. Dat ons 17-jarige, onder 18-jarige, ek dink nie, ons het besef, ons het nie een reël. That we're not allowed to have anyone under 18. And I must just say that this script, I was kind of, are we allowed to, can we do this? But yes, we are allowed to, because I just want to say that Ethan might be 17, maar sy teks is geëvalueer, soos ek het verduidelik, dit word ook anoniem geëvalueer en so, en all the evaluators gave it a really high mark. So, well done. En Ethan, Ethan Wester.
Nee, maar so ja, soos hy gesê het, ek is Ethan Wester. Eers wil ek net dankie sê aan almal wat hier is. Dit is ek weet nie, toe ek hier aankom en ek sien soos Jonas wil ja, ek bedoel, toe ek al sien, ek was soos so dit was net soos vir my alles en daar's ander dae man. So dit was net vir my ek het die regte theater geek, my drama juffrou sê ek's weird en dit sê baie van drama juffrouens is weird. So hoe meer ek nou in die audience kyk, hoe meer mense sien ek wat ek ken en dit maak my bang, maar ook ek soos amazed. So ek het hierdie teks geskryf in Junie se kant, want ek het gehoor van Teksmark, ek het 'n tienertoneel hierdie jaar gedoen wat ek geskryf en regie het. En dit was great, maar toe wou ek Teksmark draai, want ek het 'n idee gehad vir 'n 2-maandstyd wat ek sou wou speel. Maar toe kom Teksmark, dis ek soos ek wat doen hierdie. En die idee het gekom, soos in die boekie staan, dat is Nico en Wim se storie. En Nico en Wim was dit sê hier so universiteit ons het verander, en hulle matriekvakantiejaar was hulle afgetrek, nou hulle bietjie dronk gery het, en hulle was verkragt in 'n tronksaal. En hierdie het gebeur toe my ma in die 90's by Stellenbosch was. En haar vriendin, sy 2 beste vriende, het van ry en was verkragt in die tronksaal. En sy weet nie wat ooit met hulle toe gebeur het nie. Toe vat ek daai idee en ek dink, hoe gaan mens aan? Wat gebeur met 'n mens se siege? Ek bedoel, trauma gebeur met almal, maar hierdie is so interessant. Ek moet sê veral in die 90's, veral in die manlik, soos wat is dit om 'n man te wees, want gender-based violence bestaan aaklig teenoor die wêreldsinne. Vrouens word verkragt en ek het al baie in my hoërskool toespraak oor dit gedoen. Maar toe dink ek oor in 'n manlike bedryf, mans praat nie oor hierdie nie. Mans wat sexually assaulted word, praat nie oor hierdie nie. In my skool, seuns wat geboelie word, praat nie oor enigiets. Want vir ons word dit geleer in 'n klein ouderdom, jy's 'n seun, bly stil, jy praat nie oor dit nie. So toe vat ek daai idee en ek sal later meer verder oor dit praat, maar en gaan dit met dit. En Jonas is hier en ek hoop jy geniet dit. Dankie baie.
Nico. 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 Nico, hoor jy my? Nico.
Ja.
Haal asem.
Waar's van?
Haal net eers asem.
Nee, waar's van?
Ons sal nou oor Wim praat, Nico. Ek dink net jy moet eers rustig raak.
Ek gaan rustig raak as ek weet waar Wim is.
Nico. Nico, kyk vir my. Nico.
Ben!
Nico, kyk vir my. Nico. Wim is nie nou hier nie. Nico? Haal asem. Wanneer het die insident plaasgevind? Nico?
Dit was tydens ons matriekvakansie.
Hoe oud was julle?
Ek was 18. Dit was na my verjaarsdag. Wim het toe nog 'n verjaring, so hy was seker so 7.
Dis baie jonk.
Daar sou nie 'n verskil gemaak het as ons ouer was. Ons ouderdom het fokol uit te baie met wat met ons gebeur het.
Nico is soos right.
Shut ek's fine, dankie.
Gelyk weer 'n bietjie uit ons ou net.
Seker iets te doen met my voorskrif.
Ja, of my stories verveel jou maar net.
Wat nie.
Ja, so kyk, sien hier dit is. So ek wou nog vra, ek wil nie intrude nie. Jy het oor daai lucky lady gevind?
Nee. Dis eintlik waar ek met jou wil praat. Maar nie daardie onderwerp presies nie, maar dan ek wil ons moet praat oor wat met ons gebeur.
Ek doe dit so lekker aan.
Dit is lekker rond ek sien. Maar wil ons moet oor praat.
Hoekom nou, na al die jare, hoekom wil jy nou oor dit praat, hè?
Dit pla my nog. Daar's aande wat ek nou nog nie kan slaap nie en ek dink nie ons het ooit reg verstaan wat met ons gebeur het nie.
Nico,
asseblief kan ons daar praat. My terapeut.
Die terapeut?
Ja.
Fok Nico. Ek dink ons het gesê ons gaan vir niemand vertel wat daardie aand gebeur het nie.
Ek weet, maar hy weet nie wie jy is. Ek moes met iemand daar praat.
Jy het mos nou 'n terapeut, hoe kom ons oor praat, hè?
Want ek nie. Ek moet weet ek sien die enigste een wat op is na daardie aand.
Om ou sit op te kots gaan jou nie mal beter voel nie.
Fok jou.
Nico,
Wat?
was dit die laaste keer wat julle twee gepraat het? Voor sy dood?
Ja.
Is jy seker?
Ja, Chris.
Nico, ek dink jy vir my weer die waarheid.
Bullshit! Jy wil die hele maand lank aan met hierdie kak. Hoeveel keer moet ek vir jou sê, ek wil nie daar praat nie.
Julle was vriende, né?
What the fuck?
Ja, ons was vriende. Goeie vriende.
Shut up!
Hoe het julle ontmoet?
Jy weet hierdie goed al klaar. Ons het al daar gepraat, daar gaan niks niets by.
Shut net af!
Ja, ons was vriende. Ons het by die koshuis ontmoet.
Die koshuis.
Ja. Ons het 'n kamer gedeel. Ek was net in die Kaap en net nie regtig mense ken. Mense het my laat gemaklik voel.
3 jaar. 300 jaar probeer ek al 'n stukkie van die menslikheid wat ek daai aand verloor het terug te kry. En toe moes jy net terugkom.
En toe?
En toe was ons vriende. Was nie meer so alleen nie. As hy uitgegaan het, het hy my saamgevat. Hy het bietjie laat socialize.
So hy was 'n goeie vriend.
Ja.
Nee, jy wil jou kloue insteek en nooit laat gaan nie.
Wanneer het die insident plaasgevind?
Ek het gesê wat ek kon.
Hoe oud was julle, Nico?
Hoe gaan mens aan as iets?
Dit is baie jonk vir wat met julle gebeur het.
Jy doen nie.
Dit is regtig
Jy moet stiek binne jou weg en begeer op aan en elke dag vreet dit in jou en elke dag word jou holte wat veroorsaak net groter en groter en groter. Jy kan niks aan doen nie. Jy kan niemand sê iemand niks aan moet verstaan, hè? Ons kan dit saam doen.
En die sel?
Ek het vir jou vertel wat gebeur het en sal jy weet wat gebeur het. Hoekom het ek weer?
Nico, herhaling help om die pyn te ervaar.
Hel die koe. Jy lewe in hierdie fantasie fok op. Wat is al right geweest, maar dit gaan nie.
Ons het gepredik. Ons was nie gesyp nie. Ons was op pad rage. Dit moes 'n kort pad wees, maar toe out of the blue was daar 'n padblokkade. Die polisie het ons gestop en ons laat plaas en natuurlik was ons oor die limiet, so ons was polisiestasie toegeneem. Ek en Wim was opgesluit vanjaar.
Ons was verkragt in 'n tronksel.
Daar was 4 ander mans in ons sel.
Wat meer soek jy?
My terapeut het gesê dat...
Oor wat praat julle, hè? Oor my?
Ek gaan nie oor strei nie.
Hoekom? Hoekom praat julle oor my? Wat maak my so interessant dat jy met hom oor my moet praat, hè? Toe Nico, sê my. Wat skinder julle oor my? Kyk na my! Hoekom is ek so belangrik in jou lewe?
Hoe het jy reageer? Kon dit lei na sy selfmoord? Nico.
Sjoe, ek wil begin weer vir jou te vra, wanneer jy begin skryf en hoe kom skryf jy, waar kom jou liefde daaroor?
So, van kleins af weet ek dat altyd die beste ding wat ek onthou is ek was in 'n disken en ons, ek dink ek was 6, ek en my pa staan daar en dis langs al die vitamines. En ek sê vir my pa so, ek lees elke element, ek sê zink, helium en al daai goedjies. En hierdie apteekster kyk vir my en sê, what do you want to be? En ek sê, I want to make movies, of iets soos dit, it's quite simple. En sy kyk maar en sy sê, but you know all this, why do you want to make this? En ek het toe geweet dat daar's iets in my. Ek het die visuele ding, as ek 'n liedjie luister, dink ek, okay, hy kan hierin pas. As ek iets sien, pas dit hierin. En toe kom ek in hoërskool, graad 8 doen ek niks, graad 9 het ek so begin met drama, was in 'n tienertoneel, maar niks self geskryf nie, maar goedjies opgevoer. En in graad 10 was dit ons skool doen hierdie groot produksie en ek sê vir my dramajuffrou, ek wil 'n tienertoneel skryf. Sy sê, okay, go. En ons werk so saam, ons doen op hierdie werkswinkel tipe teater tipe ding en ons kry die idee en toe gaan skryf ek. En toe doen ons redelijk goed, en dit was vir ons, wow, ons het hier in 2 weke by mekaar gesit. En toe laas met dit, en daar sê ek soos, okay. En ek het altyd opstelling geskryf, en kreatieve skryfwerk was altyd lekker. En laas jaar, toe kry ek 'n idee vir 'n tienertoneel, en toe sê ek my juffrou, ek wil nou my eie ding. Vir my eie ding skryf, ek wil my eie ding regie, ek het my 2 beste vriende te sit, en toe gaan ons. En dit was great. Ons het by Pronk, ons was by Pronk, al die competisies en feestes. En dit was net, dit het net gebrand. En Teksmark het toe 'n e-mail gestuur vir my, want ons is deel van KKNK as gevolg van Presidium in Mei. En hulle stuur toe 'n ding en ek was soos, hierdie is nou voortien toe, hierdie was in Junie en ek soos my pa, hierdie is nie 'n bad idee. En dis verniet, kom ons probeer. En jy hoef nie te betaal nie, jy stuur dit in. En ek was net soos,
jy bedoel, ons moet vra dat mense betaal om te skryf.
En dit is wat ek so wonderlik maak. Ander plekke vra jou inskrywingsgelde en julle was net soos asseblief stuur. En ek stuur eers, ek dink ek vra ek soos hoe werk hierdie dit, ek het geen idee nie. En ek skryf toe die 10 minute klaar en ek stuur dit die dag voor die tyd in. Ek dink toe niks van dit. En die dag toe ek die e-mail kry, was ek in skool, ek sê my Afrikaanse juffrou en sy spring op en af. En toe bel hy my. En ek vertel, en toe vertel ek vir almal van daai oproep, want dit is van die snaakste oproepe ooit, van, jy wat vra, en wat se werk doen jy? En ek sê ek draf klas.
Maar ek wou vir almal daar op.
Dit was een van 12 jaar en toe gaan tienertoneel en skryf is net so met my nou en ek love it.
En jy het vreeslik baie balkies daar's nie meer genoeg op jou baadjie.
Ja nee, dis vir sport, wel sport net so. Meestal tot hier en akademie ook.
En vraag en dan kom ons by die toneelstuk. As jy nou, jy staan obviously belangrik onmiddellik in die gesprek oor wat dit wonderlik want onmiddellik wil ek net gevra tipe van ek weet nie wat vraag nie, maar ek onmiddellik kon ek sien jy het 'n belangstelling in teater, jy ken die name van mense wat in teater geseers is wat speel en so. So ek kon onmiddellik agterkom maar hier is wat my baie opgewonde maak is iemand wat jonk is wat obviously die objek van teater en wat aangaan in die teater. So waar sien jy jouself as 'n skrywer, akteur, regisseur, waar sien jy jouself? En is dit iets wat jy gaan jy
ek wil graag. Ek wil graag. Ek het hierdie regie en geskryf en dis die wonderlikste proses vir my want ek sê altyd dat voel asof jy 'n kind grootmaak. Jy het hierdie ideetjie en nou is dit twee van julle. En nou word jy stage manager en dan kry jy stage manager, hy sit hierso. En en dan kry jy net almal by en dan later dis 'n two-man show maar dis 11 van julle. Wat nou wie ek na week kan met mekaar spandeer en dit word net amazing. En jy leer mense ken. Ek bedoel met hierdie het ek nou soos my regisseurskap hoor geken en ek het hulle tienertoneel hierdie jaar gekyk. En 2 maande terug sou ek nooit geraai dat ek hulle persoonlik sou ken nie. So ek sou graag wil aanhou skryf. Ek sou graag wil aanhou regie en ek hou ook van spel. Ek het al prompt digitaal gedoen en dit is ook lekker om te speel, maar skryf en regie is net vir my.
En jy gaan dit wat jy wil studeer. Jy gaan hier op 'n ander.
Ek wil vakgebied dalk wiskunde. Ek is baie mal oor wiskunde. Dit is interessant en my pa het wiskunde hier geswat nogal. Maar wiskunde en IT, ek hou baie van dit ook, maar die rede hoekom agter dit is want nou kan ek soos net doen wat ek wil. Want dalk kyk ek's nou graad 11, ek nog eintlik soms skryf. Ek het nie idee wat volgende jaar gebeur nie. Dalk wil ek nog drama gaan swat. Dis nooit nie op die kaart nie, maar ek hou ook van wiskunde. So
jy kan vir almal hier so advies vra wat nie bedryf is wat jy moet doen. Ja, so jy kan dan op jou advies gee. Nou, hier is op die jaar aan die mikrofoon. Daar's hangt hierso. Dis 'n handleer, sorry. Terwyl ons wag die mikrofoon na Jane toe. Terug by die play, ja, nee, laat Jane eers kom en dan Frank jou.
Ek kan verseker nie baie sê nie. Baie geluk want ek dink ek kan vir jou goeie raad gee om maar wiskunde te gaan studeer. Want jy hoef nie te leer oor skryf nie. En as mens jou eie, is soos 'n skillery maak, jy weet jy kan dit maar afteken en ergens iets gaan haal om dit jou eie te maak, maar as jy uit jou soos jy ook, jy gaan haal jou stories, maar jy skryf baie van 'n baie sterk oortuigde vertrekpunt af en grootendeels 'n liefde. My ma het altyd gesê, probeer maar uitvind waarvan jy hou. Want jy gaan goed wees daarmee. So, maar studeer maar wiskunde, dit is 'n lekker pak.
Steek asseblief aan op as jy wil kommentaar lewer. Anina, ek sou graag van julle ook wil hoor. Ek wil by jou weet, hierdie stuk, dit is nogal 'n heftige tema. En dit is iets wat, jy weet, daar's baie kompleksiteit daaraan. Jy sê dis 'n storie wat jou ma vertel het en jy het gewonder met die pad van die woord en daai tipe van ding. In die 90's, né? Ja. En maar ek wonder, ek bedoel, jy sê jy het nou baie vinnig geskryf en nie dit sê nie. Maar ek wonder of het ook enige, ek bedoel, ek wil net sê dat ek met 'n navorsing gegaan. Dis nie iets wat jy weet net, jy weet iets wat jy weet wat in jou onmiddellike verwysings van wêreld is nie, en dan bietjie meer temas wat jy ondersoek. Maar waar kom jou references vandaan? Waar kom die gedagtes vandaan? Wie julle is en wat hulle is?
Soos ek al genoem het, ek het al tevore baie gepraat in soos met redenaars en speech guild. Selfs in my klasgesprekke was dit altyd, ek sal sê, very adamant oor hierdie situasies, want ons praat nie in ons skool oor hierdie goed. En ons kinders praat oor hierdie nie. En ek het nog altyd baie navorsing van soos ek graad 9, graad 10 was. Toe ek hierdie doen, wat ek seker maak, okay, wat is die idee? En vorm van navorsing was net om te kyk na die kinders in my skool, die seuns. Hoe veral my graad ons daar was 'n insident onlangs, as ek nou 'n voorbeeld kan gebruik, waar seuns geslaan was, geboelie was. Maar die seuns wil nie dat voor gaan nie. Hulle wil nie vir die juffrou gaan sê, ek was geslaan deur 'n ander seun nie, want hy voel skaam oor dit. Want al die ander seuns het hom dat die skaam te kry van, as jy geslaan word, jy's 'n seun, staan op, be better, don't be, jy weet, nie 'n pissie wees nie. Ekskuus my taal, maar soos dis hoe dit is. En net om hierdie te baar te neem in die skool, was ek dit hier gesit. En ek weet nie, die woord wat hulle nou gebruik, soos die toxic masculinity, ons as seuns kan nie net praat oor ons voel nie. Op die oomblik wanneer ons begin soos bietjie meer minder dominante kant wys, word ons soos as verfyn en onwaardig goedjies gesien. En dis wat met Nico en Wim gebeur. Ek sal later vertel wat later met Nico en Wim gebeur, dan sal ek dit maar spoil, maar dit is sommer nou. Wat later gebeur, kyk, ons weet Wim pleeg nou selfmoord na hierdie incident, want Wim het dit in 'n boksie getrek, natuurlijk gepraat nie. Maar hopelik deur wat nou verwys was, Nico het 'n obsession begin groei teenoor Wim. Hy het hierdie codependency, hy moes saam met Wim voortgaan. En Nico word verlief op Wim. En ek het lank gedink, hoe pak jy nou dit aan? Nico word verlief, hy sê vir Wim, hy word verlief, dis wat hy nou praat van, wat het ek gedoen? Hoe het ek gereageer? En hierdie obsession word ontsettend ongesond. Hy word, soos ons gesien het, as hy kyk, hy las teenoor hierdie Wim. En Wim wil dit nie reciprocate nie, en dan verkragt Nico vir Wim, om hierdie dominerende rol oor Nico te kry en te sê, jy sal myne wees, en dis hoekom Wim later selfmoord pleeg, want hierdie een ouetjie wat kind of daar was vir hom, het sy doen wat 10 jaar, 3 jaar met hulle gebeur. So, en het eindig met Nico wat altyd wegkom met dit, want Wim wou nie oor dit praat, Wim wou nie vir Nico aangee nie. En hierdie twee mans wou ook nie, toe hulle in hulle 3 jaar dit aangegee het nie. So, Wim se enigste oplossing is dan om sy lewe te neem.
Ja, dit is wonderlik dat ek dink met artikel 14 ek sien nou nie vir julle hier, maar artikel 14 is so 'n ongelooflike rol wat dit speel, tussen jy wat daar betrokke was. En wat en dat 'n mens, ja, wat my net altyd fascineer is, wat 'n mens uiteindelik kan, wat 'n mens jong in die gehoor wil hê, wat hulle wil kyk, wat iemand vir hulle wil, jy weet, it must come from you. Julle weet wat julle wil sien, julle weet dat die bevindings, soms is dit baie lekker om van julle die perspektief af te kry. Julle pas van iemand anders wat dink, wat ek kan voorskryf. En het julle dalk iets te sê van 'n nie 'n opvoedkundedepartement perspektief in hoërskole, want ek weet ons het by Bolien byvoorbeeld gepraat daaroor van dinge.
Ek wil net vir jou baie geluk sê met wat jy op hierdie verhoog vermag het. Wat 'n wonderlike ervaring om dit te sien. Uitstekend. En nou dat jy die hele intrige verder vertel, ek snak na my asem. Ongelooflik. Ek wil graag vir jou vra oor drama op skool. Die impak wat dit in jou lewe gehad het. En as jy dink hoe belangrik dit is, wat sê jy as jy moet raad gee vir 'n onderwysdepartement of vir mense wat besluit oor vakke en so aan? Wat sê jy oor drama? Ek hoor jy wiskunde is vir jou belangrik, dit is belangrik. Maar ja, gee net vir my 'n bietjie jou gedagtes oor drama, die impak wat dit in jou lewe gehad het, en ek sien dat jy drama gebruik om belangrike kwessies aan te spreek. Jy hou die spieël op vir ons op 'n baie jong ouderdom.
Dankie. Ek het drama gespak in al 2 jaar en dit het deure oopgemaak vir my. En dit het eintlik wel skryf het al begin tot 'n mate, maar my liefde vir teks lees. Maar jy het die hele biblioteek van ou tekste. En toe begin ek hulle net lees. Want sy het gesê om 'n teks te skryf moet jy weet wat jy lees. Wat is die formaat van die teks en al daai. Toe begin ek net lees en ek het dan het sy net 'n paar gehad. En toe word dit my volgende ding van kry net meer tekste. Gaan tweedehands boekwinkels toe. Toe lees ek weer as 'n wet. Toe lees ek Barto Smit en MP van Wyk Lou en al daai, net om te verstaan, okay, hierdie is wat teater is. En hoe hulle elke persoon dit sien en al die style wat daar is, want dit is wat dramas vaak 'n wonderlike ding doen. Ek weet volgende jaar doen ons, jy kan kies tussen absurdisme, epiese teater en postmodern. Ons doen epies, kan ek wys doen van Adam Small. En ek love absurdisme. En ek het by die boek gelees, Rosencrantz en Guildenstern, wat is een van André Pebrink, Bagasie. So dan praat vir my juffrou, en dis wat drama dan vir jou toelaat. Jy het hierdie raamwerk waar jy dan waar jy die tekste beskikbaar is vir enige kind wat dit wil lees. So dan sê jy soos, okay, ek wil hierdie teks kry en as my juffrou soos kom ons soek vir dit. Dan lees jy die tekste en dis wat drama toelaat. En kyk, hierdie jaar het ons realisme gedoen, wat ons met contemporary Amerikaanse realisme met definitely salesman. En ons is nou in 'n tydperk, ek weet mense noem dit postmodern, maar dis anything goes, soos my juffrou altyd sê. En dan sien jy 'n tyd, nou sien jy 'n bietjie van, okay, hierdie is wat Tennessee Williams gebruik het, en ons gebruik nou 'n bietjie van Tennessee Williams in ons ding, maar kom ons gebruik 'n bietjie van Brecht, en dan gooi ons 'n bietjie Beckett in, en dan doen jy net als. En tienertoneel ook, laat dit toe, want jy kan niks met tienertoneel doen. Jy maak dit soos jy wil. Wat? Yes, my drama juffrou is wonderlik. Ek love haar baie. Wat is hom? Barend hulle beskryf. Ek dink lekker hier wees vandag nie sy state dit is baie hartseer dat sy nie kan wees nie, maar ek is baie lief vir haar.
Maar dit word gestream, soos ek kan dit klaar sien.
Yes, en my pa neem 'n video.
En sy pa hier.
Ja, yes, maar ja, so drama as drama vak is
Deur.
Drama's vak is 'n wonderlike ding. Dit leer kyk, ek nou net oor tekste praat, en dit was my perspektief, maar die jou prakties eindeksamen, ons werk nou aan ons ding. Jy kan so groot gaan soos jy wil. Toe my juffrou sê ek kan ligte, ek kan 'n projekte. Ons idee hierso is wonderlik hoe jy ons gebruik en drama as vak. Kyk, ek sê dit ek wil wiskunde wat, maar drama as vak is my belangrikste vak en die lekkerste vak. En jy sien elke keer uit my dubbelperiode waar jy prakties doen, want nou leer ons nuwe tegnieke, portrette. So veral ek, baie ander kinders hou nie van dit nie. Almal sal die praktiese deel van dramas lekker. Ek sê die praktiese en teoretiese deel is lekker. So hoe meer mense ek kan leer teaterpraktisyne en tekste wat ek kan leer en ken, hoe wonderliker word die vak en die vak laat dit toe. So ek dink dis
Ek my absolute hoop. So ek glo ja.
Ek dink jy moet maar die wiskunde los, hoor. Ek wil vir jou 'n moeilike vraag, 'n onregverdige vraag vra. Ek dink baie keer probeer ons wanneer ons met jeug werk en met leerders werk, gooi ons hier net verskriklik buite oop. In die hoop dat ons die talentvolle, belangstellende kinders en leerders gaan vang. Ek wonder nou, nadat ek nou na jou gesit en luister het, of ons nie eintlik deur dit so wyd te doen, belangrike talent en belangrike stemme verloor, omdat ons nie gefokus kyk na wie is die kinders wat spesiale, wie is die leerders wat daai iets het om te ontwikkel. Ek wil nie nou praat oor 'n skool, 'n nasionale skool vir die kunste nie, maar in 'n algemene skool, in 'n model C skool, in 'n kwintiel 1 skool, maak nie saak wat die skool is nie, maar dat ons nie sulke, ek wil graag weet wat jy dink, moet ons, wat gaan beter, daar seker nie, maar wat is jou opinie? Is dit beter om spesifiek te identifiseer, of dit nou 'n spel, of 'n regie, of 'n skrywer is, en of is dit beter om net vir almal te teiken?
Verstaan jy dit? Ja.
Ek verstaan self.
Ek dink ek verstaan, en dis 'n moeilike vraag, as ek nou oor dink, want tot 'n mate kan jy met albei saamstem, en daar's pros en cons vir beide. En as ek praat van my ding, dit was oop, dit was, doen wat jy wil, en kyk of iemand jou sien. Maar dis, ek dink wat daai aanspreeklikheid vir kinders maak, is dat, dis oop, wat doen ek? Wat van as hierdie persoon nie van dit hou nie, wat moet ek doen dat hierdie persoon, of hierdie mense dink? So, ek dink dit is great dat ons, soos jy nou gesê dat dit nou oop is, maar daar kan dalk ook 'n fokus wees op, okay, kom ons kyk na kinders wat nou net wil Want as ek kan praat in 'n perspektief van soos kom ons sê soos in skole en soos toneelfeeste vir ons leerders, daar's 'n groot fokus op acting, op net die spel. En wat baie mense altyd soos vergeet is daar's regie. En baie regie word nou nog behartig deur die juffrouens. Maar as daai kan bevorder word dat leerproduksies nog steeds kan dieselfde erkenning kry. Ons het hierdie jaar ook dieselfde erkenning gekry en dit voel amazing. Dis hierdie jy's nou saam met hierdie mense. Jy's nie net die leerproduksie nie. Maar as ons kan fokus op dit van drama is nie net spel nie. Drama is skryf, drama is beligting, drama is klank, drama is die stage manager, die stage hands. Drama is ons.
Ethan, ek gaan nie vraag. Ek dink dit sou ek net sê van ek dink wat Sakie vra, ek dink dit is 'n belangrike vraag is daar ons wat vir jou is voorbeeld. Is daar's soms kompetisies, daar's soms dinge wat gebeur, daar's soms tipe van geleenthede vir jong mense wat geskep word, vir almal wat om 'n liefde vir die kunste te skep en so. Maar dat is iemand soos jy wat met hierdie passie en hierdie gefokusheid kom en dit is eintlik iets wat jy al reeds weet, jy wil eintlik 'n loopbaan van maak, alhoewel jy dalk gaan dis nie ons weet dan. Maar jy weet, is daar iets wat jy dink, geleenthede wat jy wil hê, wat jou omdat jy meer gefokus is dalk as meeste van die ander leerders, voel jy dat jy meer gefokus is en dat daar dit net vraag is, ja,
ek verstaan nou, sorry. Ja, ek dink ja.
En wat is daai wat kan ons as feeste en mense in die bedryf doen om mense wat op hoërskool is, wat al reeds daai belangstelling het. What can we do? How do we support you? Is dit die vraag? Ja. Okay. Dis 'n moeilike vraag. Ja, is daar nog 'n vraag of twee? Daar's 3 vrae. Kan jy daai vraag antwoord?
As ek terug kan antwoord en dan later terugkom. Dalk soos jy nou gesê het, iemand wat ek fokus het, ek weet ek wil, want baie kinders weet nie presies hulle wil ek skryf, ek weet regime skryf, we want to go forward. So dalk met soos jy sê met die feeste dat daar fokus op die jeug is, maar 'n fokus in hoe passief ons is dalk onderhoude, maar internships. Ek weet dis 'n groot ding. Dan kry die ouens al van jonk nou op die stage, laat hulle stage in, laat hy saam met die regisseur sit en hy hoef nou nie self te sê hy dit nie, maar laat hy daar sit. Ek het Dinsdag inkom sit met ons tekraan en daai 50 minute was net amazing. Want ek het gesien hoe 2 professional ouens hierdie ding ran. Hulle sê ek doen dit so. Ligter is 5 minute ingestaan. En as ons by kinders ek wat gefokus is op hierdie spesifieke velde as internships, as loopbaan, ja, internships die beste woord, nou al beskikbaar is vir ons, dink ek dit sal die kinders net bevorder.
So met ander woorde, meer direkte blootstelling aan die proses van teater, professionele teater, sodat jy van daardie leer jy.
Ja, want ek het laas jaar aardklop gaan kyk en dit was die eerste keer waar ek 'n regte teater gesien het en as dit nie was dat ek na Nico Skeepers show na toe gegaan het en gevra het, hier is amazing, hier is so eer om dit te ontmoet, hoe doen jy dit nie? So ek nooit geweet het hoe om dit te doen nie. En as daai oop is vir kinders, dink ek dit sal amazing wees.
Ek dink daar is 'n gesprek wat mense dalk nog verder kan voer, sorry.
Ekskuus, ek sien die mikrofoon. Jy soek so rond. Ek wil nog so ietsie hierby aanlas, Saartjie, want ons het definitief besluit by RSG dat ons meer kinders in kinderstories wil hê en nie net groot mense nie. Nou is die vraag, waar kry jy daai kinders? En ek dink op jou vraag van hoe wyd maak mense dit oop, ons kan dit nie te wyd oopmaak nie want ons het 'n bepaalde spelerslys, so ons kan dit net soveel mense hê, maar ons het begin by ons drama-onderwysers. En om daar te identifiseer kinders wat regtig lief is en passie het vir die medium, maar wat ons toe gedoen het is, ons het die kinders saam met ervare akteurs gesit. Dit was die belangrike ding om hulle nie net in hulle eie produksie te sit by die radio nie. sodat hulle die medium kon leer ken. Jy praat nou van prosesse, Ethan. Waarom ons het vir hulle opleiding gegee in die ateljees, dis hoe die ateljee lyk, dis hoe dit gaan wees as die regisseur inkom, dis wat ons doen as jy die dag letterlik net deur die dag gevat en dan saam met ervare akteurs gesit en so het ons gesien het daai passie ontwikkel en daai vaardighede ontwikkel waar ons aan die begin van 'n 60-epper bewende knieë gehad het na 'n ervare radioakteur aan die einde van die 60 episodes of aan die einde van die 27 met Liedjie Dorp. So op die vraag van hoe wyd maak mense dit oop, ek dink jy gaan dit altyd so mense wil altyd soveel mense kans gee, maar ek dink dis wonderlik as mens kan intap by skole waar daar onderwysers is wat jou kan help en sê hierdie kind lees op sy eie. Hy daag op vir sy eie stemoefeninge. Hulle wil. Ek dink daai is 'n belangrike deel daarvan.
Baie dankie. En dit is 'n baie waardevolle kommentaar. Ek dink Tracy, you had a question?
Congratulations. I mean, as Hugo said, I can't believe that you wrote it, but it's just incredible. What I really liked about the play is, is that saying that if the rape doesn't kill you, the shame will. And I think you really deal with that aspect of shame so incredibly well. I mean, both of the characters just, their monologues and the dialogues between them, how they speak about the aftermath of the rape is just incredible, and how you've got that insight. And the question I want to ask you is, you've chosen not to have there's no happy ending to the story. And that's, also to compliment you on that you didn't take the easy way out, that everyone goes and lives happily ever after. What made you, why did you make that choice, and was it an easy one to make?
English one, so English. Afrikaans, okay. Ek dink hoekom ek nie gelukkig geëindig gekies het dat dit nie is van ek wil in 'n mate as wat cheap wees. Ewe skielik dit is die Grieke Deus Machina genoem. Alles gaan verkeerd en in die laaste 10 minute kom ek hoor en dan soms van. En as dit dan gebeur het, as ewe skielik nou dra Wim nie meer aan shame nie, nou dra ek nie meer aan shame nie, as hulle nie meer depressed nie en nou gaan hulle lewe aan. Nee, want hierdie gebeurtenis, verkrachting het nagevolg in mense se lewens. Dit verander hulle lewens. Daar is nie 'n going back nie, daar is nie 'n reverse button nie. So wat met hulle gebeur het nou met hulle gebeur en dis ongelukkig hoe hulle storie eindig. Wim het geen ander solution gehad nie en toe pleeg hy selfmoord en Nico het skotvry gekom. En ek is 'n donker kind, ek is altyd 'n klein bietjie donkerste van humor en om nou net happy eindes het my nooit, ek het nooit van happy eindes gehou nie. Ek het verkies dat die storie sad eindig. So dis maar net in my natuur dat die storie moet sad eindig, want daar's iets mooi aan die sadness.
Thanks for that answer.
Ek wil nou nie aannames maak hier, maar dis iets waarvoor ek altyd bang is wat as dit nie eerlik is nie, omdat ek nie die first-hand experience het nie. So waar sal jy sê begin jy in terme van om dit geloofwaardig te maak vir iemand wat in die gehoor sit wat dalk al deur dit was? Veral op 17. Ek bedoel jy's 17, maar jy praat soos 'n 40-jarige. So anything is possible, I guess, maar dis maar net.
Ek dink dit is dalk terug na soos met spel. Want veral nou toe ons geleer het van Tchaikovsky, Stanislavski. En baie akteurs skryf, baie akteurs kom op hierdie verhoog, speel moordenaar, speel 'n persoon wat verkragt is, maar hulle was selfs nog nooit verkragt nie. En dis die magiese as ek in daai situasie was. En die enigste manier wat ek begin skryf is ek begin sit met myself praat. Ek sit in my kamer en ek voer net dialoog op. En as ek van die dialoog hou, skryf ek dit nie, anders voer ek dit nog dialoog op. En dan voer ek 'n tweesydige gesprek met myself in my kamer. En ek lewe myself in dit en ek lewe dat ek is daai nee, ek is Nico, ek is Wim, ek weet hoe elkeen voel, ek weet wat elkeen sê en daar kom ek nie geloofwaardig oor. Maar
nee, dit doen.
Ja, maar it's an attempt. Jy weet nooit eintlik wat mense gaan dink van dit nie. So as die beste wat ek kan sê is dat jy moet net van 'n plek van eerlikheid. Jy moet die krap wat in jou lewe gebeur het, amper daarin sit. Dis 'n draining proses, maar dis hoe dit honest te maak, dis hoe dit eerlik is. Want dan is dit nie net hierso van 'n oppervlakkige jy ouens is verkragting nie. Dit gaan dalk dieper. Dit gaan van wat is die actual effect? Die verkrachting het net gebeur. Hierdie storie is nie oor die verkrachting nie. Dis hoekom ons dit nie in 'n tronk sal plaas, dis hoekom ons dit in 'n huis plaas. Hierdie ouens se lewens, wat het hulle gebeur het, hoe hulle voel, dis die storie. En as jy net van 'n eerlike approach kom, glo ek dat dit vir 'n geloofwaardige produk maak.
Okay, nee, cool, well done.
Ek dink een van die kommentare wat oor die leerders was, spesifiek die gebruik, en ek dink dit is waar dit so geloofwaardiger was. Dit is so gebruik van die dialoog, die gebruik van die, jy weet, dit kom ook van, jy weet, 'n ouderdomsgroep, wat ek dink dit realisties gemaak het, en wat dit meer authentic gemaak het, nie ons woord gebruik. Ek dink nog wel dan, jy is 'n inspirasie wat jy gee vir my, as my nuwe, ek wens ek gaan nou daai nuwe, dit wat ek gehad het op skool, gaan ek nou weer soek in my. Baie dankie. En ek hou aan met skryf en ek weet nie, ek moet met jou pa praat, en ek gaan dit in swart op die jare sal nou maar daai gesprek hê. Maar ja, hou aan skryf en hou aan die liefde en bybring en doen en kom ons kyk wat met die stuk het. Dankie baie. I've lost my place. Mbasa Tsetsana, it's your stage now. This is the final exit for today, and we will start again at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But now the stage is yours for now, today. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I've really been encouraged to up my Afrikaans linguistic skills, you know, after that last session, because it really sounded like, you know, it was so engaging, and I just wish I understood, but yeah, congratulations to everyone so far. So it's a text market, so I've got my own text here to present to you, because if I didn't, we'd be until next week. So yeah, thank you very much for being here for this last session on this very long day. And welcome to Thula Mntanam. So Thula Mntanam, Be Quiet, My Baby, is an epic theatre piece following a group of actors rehearsing a play. The piece in its entirety is an isiXhosa tragicomic play inspired by Pierre Perrault's The Dead Will Awaken. So the production makes use of a Brechtian-style dialectical process in the development of the dramatic material, and the production thus partly takes the form of a nested play or a play within a play. So in its three parts, Thula Mntanam sweeps across time from the South African contemporary political context back into the 19th century history of the amaXhosa nation, creating an extended socio-political metaphor in which the past and the present are interpreted and understood in light of each other. So Thula Mntanam, ladies and gentlemen, takes us through the rehearsal process of four very determined actors, who are Kholi, Shaka, Dinga, and Letu. So they're seemingly, you know, trying to put a play together and essentially showcase this play to their director for possible development in the hopes of, you know, securing some kind of funding, commission, or investment. So they're basically wanting to present it to like a Teksmark of sorts. So at first glance, the play that they are rehearsing seems to be about a down on his luck, you know, veteran who's going to his old friends who are now in government. And essentially what he's wanting to do is to see if they can't help him find a job. So there's a discussion among the characters, among the actors, about this particular, very peculiar character named Tyson, you know, being stuck in the past, and an argument about the relevance of apartheid narratives, you know, all of that stuff, you know, basically becomes the gist of conversation. So it turns out that one of the actors, who led, has been writing another possible narrative, which is about the cattle killing events in 1856 in the Eastern Cape. She suggests she suggests that they do this play, and in the third and final part of Thula Mntanam, they try and they actually present this piece. So Thula Mntanam discusses themes of history, reconciliation, the transition to democracy, economic exclusion, unemployment, women and voicelessness, sexual violence, and corruption in government. It also touches on ideas of relevant versus popular narratives, arts funding, and gatekeeping in the creative sector. So while covering an array of topics, it could be argued that this piece says a lot about everything, ultimately saying nothing in the end. And I think this is the main objective of the piece. Too often do we spend our time talking and not doing. While talking and engaging is imperative, an imperative part and parcel for any process, the time for talking, needs to stop, and the time for acting. The time for action and acting needs to begin, or else we risk being stuck in an unending, repetitive rehearsal process that bears no fruit or performance. So this show articulates the experience of the young South African today with universal themes that audiences from all backgrounds, race, class, sex, gender, and age can relate to. So I'm a great advocate for and a fan of critical discourse and engagement. And if this piece gets a conversation started, I'll be a very, very happy champion. So rather than sweep our issues past and present under the carpet or keep certain skeletons rattling in the closet, I believe that we need to unpack them as a people, because at the end of the day, umntu ngumntu ngabantu. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you enjoy this excerpt and we'll converse afterwards. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'm being official. Let's hurry up. Why you can't say that's where when the audience is here, like, you can't be wasting time. Let's go. Let's go. Let's okay, sure. Get into position. Secret. Regular. Yeah, that. Sorry. Yeah.
Did you do the voice?
Yes, ma, she cried. Fit. Leah too walks onto stage. She clearly has a lot on her mind, as she mumbles inaudible ramblings. Who chews rigorously on a pen and is in conversation with voices unseen by others. Who rides into notepad. Who walks into stage. She clearly has a lot on her mind. He mumbles who choose regularly on a pen and is in conversation with voices unseen by others. Who writes in her notepad. Who silently has an epiphany as she writes the beginnings of a play, narrated by 3 characters. Ababansi. The year is 1856. In the Eastern Cape, near the mouth of the River, heads of thirsty cattle are gathering in the late afternoon, near the pools, to quench their thirst. Everyone knew that they were sick, and they would die one by one until there was nothing left. Until there was nothing left. Everyone knew that they were sick with mucus, membranes, and secreting yellow pus with thick metallic blood. The Xhosas were losing many heads of cattle, and the disease was brought by
White men.
prophecy. The Xhosas. No, tell the Xhosas to leave. No, surely we can tell better stories. Please, man, can we allow Letu to tell her story? What are the ingredients in her story? Yeah, sure, I'm eating a bit. But all I am saying is that we need to stop this thing of rehashing history. We need to move on it. Huh? What's better? Sure. Do you have a better idea? No, I think you have a better idea. How about you do the story that you told us yesterday? Yeah, I think there's potential in the story. I don't mind. Sure.
No, Kaza, this is not fair. I spent the whole night.
No. Let you had your fashion. You got my daughter, Tatum. So, Chancellor, it's all, I was sitting there thinking, yabona man ngathi le ball pen nale ncwadi man besingisejusa man, and then suddenly chance, and then it hit me. Now Tyson sitting home Tyson. You comprehend nothing I'm about. 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 Comrade, Minister of the National Command Council, counseling the council on how to concoct the cryptic message of the corrupt council, to cover the collusion between the cohorts and the council that is investigating the commission of inquiry, which will in itself recommend a council of commission. Good day, Minister. Listen, how long has it been? A year? 10. It's been 10 years? Such a long time. Abusing. I mean, running the country is no small task. No. Absolutely, Minister. And as the Minister of Nonsensical Nonsense, it is my duty to make sure that there is no nonsense. Fred, what brings you here? Well, Mr. Minister, you see, I and the comrades in the MK thought that things will get better. That maybe perhaps you will provide a better job for all. Yes. We thought that your department maybe perhaps will give jobs. Yes. see, jobs are a tricky business, Tyson. Because if you think about it, the glass is neither half empty nor half full. But if the chicken comes before the egg, you realize that if you pull this side and push the side, you might find a balance. I'm not sure I understand. Comrade, what I am trying to say is that there are currently no vacancies open. But you are a comrade. Something is bound to happen. Why don't you try the Minister of Corruption, Cohesion, and Consumption? You're bound to find something there. Yeah. Zizochika izinto. Zizochika izinto. Thula Mntanam when you call. Zizochika izinto. When you call. Thula Mntanam when you call. Comrade Minister of the National Command Council, counseling the council on how to concoct the cryptic message of the corrupt council to cover the collusion between the cohorts and the council that is investigating the commission of inquiry, which will in itself recommend a council of commission. Good day, Mr. Minister. Comrade, commander, leadership, chief. How long has it been? A year? 10. Goodness me! Goodness, that long. When do you understand? Abusing the ever hard-working minister, you must understand. As I was saying, running the country is no small task. I understand. Yes, now, as the Minister of Corruption, Cohesion, and Consumption, to ensure that our people chow the land. It is our turn to eat. It is our turn now. Now tell me, what can I do for an old friend? Well, Comrade Minister, me and some of the comrades in the MK thought that things will get better. That maybe you will provide a better life for all. Yes, Minister. That your department maybe will help us with jobs. Yes. Hey, Comrade Tyson. Hey, Comrade Tyson, you must understand, Comrade Tyson, that jobs are a tricky business. You know, because if you look at it, the glass is neither half empty nor half full. But when the chicken comes before the egg, it is then that you realize that you will find a balance. I don't understand. What I mean is that there are no vacancies in my department. But you are a good comrade, and I trust that something will be found for you. Do not worry, comrade. Zizochi! Zizinto! Sizojikisinto wenukhalelani
Comrade, let's respect the protocol, Yakiri. Yeah, I can talk about things such as procurement, this thing, Minister. Tyson.
Comrade Minister, I do not want to waste your
Comrade,
time.
saying, yeah,
Comrade Minister, I don't want to waste your time. I need a job.
Comrade Tyson, Rehane, you are very fortunate. So, the Minister of People, of Provision.
Cabinet, shut up.
Cabinet, shut up. Comrade, what I wanted to say is, as the Minister of Pettiness, Pompousness, and Protection.
Protection?
Of the party.
Comradeship.
Oh, Comrade Tyson. Oh, big. Oh, I can't give you a job anymore, man. Mara, comrade.
I do understand that the jobs are a tricky business, Tyson. Because when you come to think of it, the glass is neither half full nor half empty. That's the case, Minister. Because when chicken comes before the egg, you realize that when you push this side, you pull this side, you're bound to find the balance. Is that the case, Minister?
I understand. Tyson, you are a real comrade. Energy, something's going to come up.
This is no cheek, isn't it, right?
Now you understand the politics of politically.
Sizojikisinto wenukhalelani Thula Mntanam wenukhalelani.
I can't of it. I ain't from this inside, man. Come on. Can't of it. 30 years of democracy. And we are still talking about lack of service delivery, unemployment, talking as in for how long are we going to tell this story? Come on, man. Bye, suka. I don't care if you think I should tread carefully. Tread carefully is a shit, man. Bullshit. There, I saw on stage. Yeah, cool, man. I saw on stage. Bullshit. How long will we do this thing for, man? You know, black artists are like the ruling party, busy sucking on an old dry bone. No one cares about protest theater anymore. In the same way, the youth does not care about what the ANC did to liberate our grandparents. I mean, ask an 18-year-old, or even better, a 20-year-old something who Reginald Oliver Tambo is. They'll probably say he's an actor on Mzansi Magic. No, man. No one cares about politics in the same way the politicians do not care about us. We are on our own. This thing of rehashing of history must end. History belongs in the classroom, not on the theater stage. Me, I'm tired of having to dance around like a native. I'll go back to some tumultuous past because I want funding. Sugar.
Tumultuous? What a nice word.
Come on, don't tell me you're taking holy side.
Not taking sides. Look who's talking. History belongs in the classroom and not in theater stage. My black ass, illiteracy on steroids. Just have a further.
No one's putting it in. That's fine.
Yes.
Let's continue.
Shut up, man. Yes.
Yeah. You need to understand, all of this is through God. It is all still part of a play.
The year is 1856. in the eastern gate, near the mouth of the Kariba. Herds of thirsty cattle are gathered in the land of the moon.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Yeah. I'm just going to say one comment and then I'm going to leave, and I hope you've got lots of comments and compliments and whatever you want to give. I just find it, I think we've all spoken about it, that it feels like the purpose of theatre is to challenge. Just challenge the authorities, to challenge. I just think in general, except maybe here and there is satire or stand up or whatever, it just feels that in general our theatre is just so safe, and we don't actually go for the throat. And this is what this does, and it's in such a way that it is engaging to an audience and bringing an audience in, and then kind of. And congratulations, you get that right, and I think that's what you wanted to do. I love the style. Yeah, so thank you. That is my comment. I would love to open it up to the audience, right there at the back. And I think Gaten McKenzie should sponsor this play. The same. Like,
Good afternoon. I'm just trying to check what time is it. Yeah. Thank you for a beautiful presentation. I'm at a point in my life where, as a creative as well, I really want to come to a point where how do we balance things, right? Because there's always the thing of my forefathers did that, I didn't, you know. And then there's always a thing of, because of your forefathers, I'm in this. So at what point are we balancing things? Because with the host, I think I also concur with you to say theater is meant to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed, you know. So we are merely doing that. But in this country, at what point are we finding the balance to say, because, you know, the country sits with, and excuse me for this, sits with a lot of racial tension, which is even in our bodies, where the first thing I do if I find myself in a situation that I have to confront certain things, I borrow from that trauma and I respond from that. So at what point where we are just not seeing these things, but we're just finding a balance? Sure.
Sarki right there, and then we've got another someone right there.
Mbasa, I really want to congratulate you. I've read the earlier version of this play, I think 5 years ago, and not in my wildest dreams I could imagine that this is what it's going to be in the end. This is absolutely the theatre that we need. And it's the theatre that people need to see. And I want to, we need, when people can laugh about stuff that's painful, we are taking steps in the right direction. If people can cry about things that's beautiful, the same things happen. And in sport, there's moments of absolute joy where you can feel the whole country is happy. And we don't get it in theatre. And we've got all the tools to actually do the work. So I really, really want to congratulate you on, this is a brave play. I don't think the minister is going to sponsor you.
No, but he should.
I know he should, but he's not going to sponsor you. So what we need to do is to find people that say, okay, I'm putting my hand up. People need to see this. And people need to see not only this, we need to get a whole discourse going where people can be critical. And people can say, what about me? And not, what you are giving us is not good enough in a constructive way. So thank you, and please keep on writing. And again, this is now testament that sometimes you need to wait for something to really bloom. I think you've got a jewel. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much.
Got a comment right there.
Well done, young man.
Oh.
I call you young man because I've known you since you were 13 years old. And I've seen and I've witnessed your journey, and I understand the trials and tribulations that you've gone through. So to come out with a piece like this at the end of the day, to me, that is winning. And I hope you grow from strength to strength from this piece, man. And I want to see it in its whole fruition, because we've always known you were brilliant. You were a brilliant kid all the way into your adulthood. We've always known that. But really what you brought here in testament is that you need to fight for yourself and make sure that this piece does come to fruition and the world needs to see it. The most brilliant thing that I really saw here is your ability to be self-deprecating as an artist. Very few people have the gift to be able to do that. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Quaz.
Do I have another hand? Yes. Yes, and we've got one down here and one up there. You've got the mic first, so you can speak first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Otter. Listen to a beautiful voice. So I haven't put my thoughts, in a linear way, but I just want to say thank you first and foremost. I love the energy of the actors, not only because they're my friends, but also they're just brilliant. Okay. I think what I'm sitting with right now is thinking about who we make theatre for, and what our stories are meant to do to the people that are sitting in the audience. I listened in when you gave a talk about the themes that the play aims to address. And I mean, we sit in theatre all of the time, and we come back with questions. But I wonder, as a writer, whether you've thought about the South African dynamic and how this kind of work provokes our everyday reality, right? And I'm almost imagining that maybe you are in a way suggesting solutions to our current sort of economic, racial, or other dynamics that play out. But there's a reality that some of us are living. And I'm asking, what are the opportunities this particular show can potentially bring to the discourse and the conversation about where we've been as a people and where we are going, And I see the interplay in terms of the lines and the energy and the sort of border crossing between times. And to say, what does that leave me with as somebody that has to leave UJ Arts and Culture and still confront the very issues? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I think you brought up some very poignant points, and where I'm going to go to is you gave me a question, what is the solution? And I think what I'm trying to tackle in this piece is, because of our past, there are certain things that, as people, that we cannot change, and one is born into a particular situation. So it's not, as easy for someone in a particular socioeconomic, situation to just, no, you can do it, man. Just push. Sometimes you push and you pull and you never find a balance. Whereas, unfortunately, the solutions are, an engagement can happen post the UJ Kaka Anka, say it correctly, Kaka Anka, post the UJ Arts and Culture, post the space, post, whatever festival. And speaking of spaces, I'm very finicky about spaces because they have their own politics as well. Because Uzbanban was stepping here, doesn't have the means to be at this particular theatre because it's 20 rand to get from Kumbu to, so there's a lot. So that's why I said, it says a lot about everything, but it actually says something to you. And for me, if it gets you there and you can push and pull and find that balance, 100%. So thank you for that observation and question.
Thank you. But then someone else now. No. I want to know, and that would be my last question then. What do you need? Currently, are you busy with the play at the market theatre at the moment? Aren't you?
Yeah.
You're developing a play?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, I'm busy with 2 plays.
Plays there. What do you need for this play? What support do you need?
Money.
Of course.
Of course. I think Ms. Okondis earlier on spoke of the fact that, and I was actually having a conversation. I can just give you that story quickly.
Please.
We were actually having this conversation with my team, my beautiful team, earlier on, and we were like, people are very quick to apply for your PSP. NHD is open for funding, and it's not always about the money. It's about, personally for me, it's about what the piece can do for the people that are consuming it, and more importantly, the target audience. So, going back to the politics of space, I would love for people to not have to come to a theatre or a formal space, but for us to be able to take it to them. So that's, whether it's in Old Surrey or in Pimville or Victoria, wherever, just so that these conversations don't end after a 2-week run or a 1-week run or 1 day KKNK. That's we invigorate these conversations, and that it's not just in the mind, but it's in the body as well. Because it's just unfortunate because theatre is so powerful, the creative sector is so powerful, and we can provoke and evoke, positivity and negativity, but most importantly, change. So the short of it is, I would love for it to live beyond the market to UJ Arts. Yes.
That's what I want, because that was my next question. So for you, this play isn't necessarily something that you want using in a only in a formal space.
Yeah.
Using it as a touring production that can be done in any kind of space,
in
to kind of bring it to people rather than people having to come to it.
Absolutely.
And so that conversation and the challenges and also the recognition of all the issues that you're addressing in the play, that there's a recognition of that it's there, that we're going through it. You're not necessarily giving solutions, but you're asking the questions, and your idea, I'm paraphrasing, just, your idea is to, that the discussions afterwards might bring the solutions and the awareness of, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And we should actually do something about what do we do.
100%. And
yeah.
100%. And solutions are also very subjective. Because my solution won't necessarily be your solution, because of my particular background. Just because you're Hugo and Sarki, both Afrikaans, you get your income, whatever, you're well off. But because of the your personal circumstances, your solution and your point of view to a particular topic, situation, issue, may not be the same. But because they're not the same, that doesn't mean that together, a solution that will assist and help, everyone. Because I can have polar opposite views to you, but those you were giving me an example about Robert Wilson and William, Kentridge, they've got different modus operandi of working, but in collaborating, whether those modus operandi are different, in collaboration, they could find a common way to work together to find said solution for said problem. So that is the meta goal.
Yeah. And one more thing, because we had the discussion earlier. When you did your introduction, you were talking about a lot of things that's being addressed in this play, and and I think you hinted at that as well. That there's a lot of issues, a lot of things, and it's a devil's advocate, and I'm just asking the question whether, with a full play, to actually get to that core and to address the actual problems, or to speak about the actual problem. Is there a streamlining of that? Do you think there's currently or is it exactly the idea that it's all these issues that you want to address?
Yeah.
And how are you going to do that in one play? Often about an hour, 15 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, what is the play to you? What is the solution to you? Because I think it was Imaan who said that, yes, we do come to the theatre space, we do watch films as a form of escapism, but sometimes we need to dabble and deal with the devil. And I'm dealing, with many devils, and I believe that the devils that I'm dealing with are ones that everyone can relate to, and as much as it's dealing with a lot. I believe that it's because, as a people, especially as South Africans, today, not South Africans actually, in the world, there's a lot of KKK, that's going on that we're dealing with. So to be able to face all of that KKK that's going on, I think will resonate, because, when I'm going to ramble until next week. But the long and the short of it is, yes, I want, in dealing with all of these issues, I do believe that I deal with one fundamental issue, which is that siyabhora. As people who are going through a lot, and we need to acknowledge that there's a lot that's going on, and not necessarily make peace with it, but find ways to move forward with all of this KKK that's going on.
You've got the last word. You have got a comment. Okay, you've got the last word. No, one more. Okay, and then it's done. 2 more questions.
Hi, Mbasa. I just wanted to say I appreciate your showcase. It is very brave, considering some of the tensions that we have within our country. What I wanted to ask you, though, is as a director, I can imagine, and as a writer, I can imagine that your showcase doesn't just happen pro bono. Like, you actually need funding for quite a lot of stuff. And in an instance where, for an example, something like this, if you want to extend it past like what you've mentioned, an informal setting, and you actually wanted to travel across the country, there's going to be a lot of buy-in that you need from that, for that, and there's a lot of money that's involved in that. I want to understand from a writer's point of view, from your journey when you started to getting to this point where you can produce for us this really, really wonderful piece. Have you ever had to simmer your truth around what the message was that you wanted to bring across, so much so that you had to make it a little bit more palatable? Especially because you are somebody who's Black, and the history of our country, and wanting to stand up on a public platform and say, this is what the reality of our country was. This is where we wish that we could get to, but we're struggling to get to that because these are some of the pre-existing systemic issues, not necessarily because we like being in the positions that we are in, but because they're just some deeply rooted things and issues that prevent us from going forward. When you sit and you write, and then you think of the sustainability of your career and you think of then the funding that you might need that might be beyond your own means, have you had to simmer that down and simmer your truth? Have you had to, change up a whole narrative just to make it palatable for your audience? And in doing that, has that kind of, done an injustice to you as a writer? Because from the moment I've been sitting here, I've been listening to, write what you feel, which I absolutely agree on. But the practicality of, where we need funding is you can write what you feel, but that's not what's going to get funding, Have you had situations like that? How have you handled that? And do you think that that'll ever change? Thank you.
Yeah, no, look, thank you for that wonderful, beautiful question. Again, in the introduction, I mentioned gatekeeping. That's it's the nature of the game, and I think that's why projects like Teksmark are so beautiful. But before I ramble about that, let me get back to your question. All broadcasters, theatres, festivals, they have their own mission, their vision, and essentially the ultimate goal that they have, for a particular, year or 5-year plan or festival or whatever. So, sometimes something with the particular themes and style, linguistic style, performative style that I have isn't, in tune with that particular goal for that particular season or festival or whatever. But when it comes to, basically biting the hand that feeds you, which is, basically saying, hey, ANC, you're the ruling party, but yeah, give me funding so that I can move you. It has proven problematic in the past, and it has been encouraged. I mean, I have another piece, waiting for Nelson, that, deals with similar themes and issues and whatnot. It has proven, difficult and problematic because, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, we have to put food on the table. We have to get that funding. We have to pay your cost and your crew, the bills. But in terms of it simmering or making murky, my truth, my message, my controlling idea, never ever. I would rather, and I have, sit in conversation, have meetings with individuals, articulating the importance of the voice. And in writing these pieces, these characters, obviously there's a huge, part of me, in the piece, and certain characters and whatnot. But I always try to have, in doing my research, have these lived experiences and these characters, live on stage. And I try to articulate that, no, bruh, as much as this is my play, these aren't just my sentiments. These are the sentiments of the people that you are there to serve. So it has nothing to do with bashing the ANC or the DA or the NAC or the DISEC. This is what is going on. And if you aren't giving the money to or the resources to let it be seen, I will find other means. And the funny thing is about our industry, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it will be. And there are sacrifices that need to be made. Nights where you live on bread and butter, and the lights aren't on. You guys have Wi-Fi. You're lucky. So there are challenges, but at the end of the day, they are worth it. And I don't believe that financial constraints should make murky or simmer the truth of the story. I'm all about the story and telling the truth of that story, even if it goes against the NAC's or the department's sentiments. Yeah.
I want to, and we've got going to a long discussion about this now, but I think it is important. You raising a lot of questions that are really important, and it's things that, and I think there's definitely an effort. I can only speak from festivals perspective, and I think there is an effort from the festivals to see, and that includes the Afrikaans Theatre Festival circuit, and then now the National Arts Festival as well, and there's efforts from different theatres as well to come together, because we have to unite and put resources together to support writers, directors, actors, and to create the work that can resonate nationally and can make the difference. It's difficult because all these people that I'm talking about are mostly independent as well, and ultimately, ticket sales, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of things that come into play, obviously. So it's a complicated thing. But what is positive, is that there is a movement towards trying to work together to see how we can identify and support the talented writers, the talent, and to use the arts for what it is supposed to, the function it should have in South Africa. It's like, and I know that's how I'm now kind of just saying, making a statement, and I wish we can have, maybe tomorrow we have some time to actually unpack that. It would be wonderful to talk about that. What are the efforts, and where are people going wrong with these efforts? Because we can't only look at government and say, you need to support us. That hasn't, you're blind actually. That hasn't worked necessarily for everyone. So how do we make it work? And that's the question. Last comment on that side.
Hello, everyone. The question has already been taken, but I really wanted to find out from you, do you share the same sentiments with the play? Because I think there's a difference between writing a play and sharing the same sentiments of the play, and I think you already answered that. But with the question in terms of with the funding and all of that is, I think for me with the play, somebody might say that we've seen or we've heard. I think it's not about seeing, but we've heard the message before. How is your planning of in the writing process, if you're still in the writing process, of making it more fresh or more different from what we've heard? Because I think we are in a state where we're now getting depressed because yes, there are really no jobs. Yes, we are struggling with funding. Yes, in everything that you say in the play. How will you make it conventional in terms of then coming with the solution? Or is it one of the plays that we will leave again, like one would say, we will leave again with the same question, with the same energy of, yes, we agree, we share the same sentiments, or, oh, Christ, I didn't think of this because this play has brought that freshness of maybe try sponsorship, maybe try collaboration, maybe try doing a festival of likewise plays, or, things like that. So how are you going to make it conventional of not only telling us or showing us the issues, but also bringing us the solutions?
Cool. Again, what are the solutions? I don't know. If I knew them, I would be in America, living abroad. No, I'm kidding. I hear your question and appreciate it, and thank you for it. So at the heart of this piece and the very function of it, like fundamentally, right? It's in essence a metaphor for life. You've got these four actors who are coming together, right? From various backgrounds, socio-economic, yes, same race, fine, but different backgrounds, right? And they're coming together to create something so that they can all, put food on the table and live as opposed to merely exist, right? They're trying to find meaning and make meaning out of the gifts and the talents and just what they have, right? So as opposed to merely meandering on and talking about it, right? This is what happens. The piece is complete. What essentially happens is they decide to back down and commit and actually, do a piece which is the one with the 1856 number segment, deciding to that talk is getting them nowhere, and that they need to just come together to actually get something finished. And once they got this finished product, then they can take the next step. But the next step can't be taken if we're in a space where we're merely conversing. So to answer your question regarding a solution, the solution is to do, and not just, well, not the solution, but the opinion from the writing perspective, Mbasa, is that these spaces, right, are greatly appreciated. However, the problem is, once one leaves these spaces, the conversations end here and nothing gets done posted. Because everyone now is excited. Yeah, we saw Thula Mntanam, we saw this, I saw that. I'm going to, and then I'm going to speak to Hugo. Because, the people are there. The emails are available. Send KKNK an idea, let's see if it got. But Umuntu is like, you know what, it's fine. And then, so it starts with when the solution, is, yes, it's very despondent, but if you don't act and you leave yourself in the metaphorical rehearsal space, nothing will ever get done. And the solution will keep on getting further and further and further away. Mr. Johnny.
That answers the question. That's all we've got for today. One last comment? Short. Yeah, Mike is coming.
Okay, hi. Mbasa, thank you so much for the invitation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just very quickly, I think the thing about the issue is about challenging. That's absolutely right. The balance you had there was challenging with humor as well, and I think humor is so important in the way of putting things across. So there are solutions. There are things like the idea of taking something like this and adapting it into something that can be filmed and then be put onto a platform like ETV, EVOD, that kind of thing, which will get it out there as opposed to theatre release, which is great. Theatre release is good. How many people does it get to? And this kind of statement, and when you're making the statements in a way that has this balance of using humor, I think that would convert really well. So, well done, fantastic. And that's my short comment.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you. I really believe this should get alive, and hopefully there's people that can talk about that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone, that's a wrap for today. We're back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you to the UJ Theatre, thank you to Nani, thank you to the Oktober, and thank you to everyone who's working hard to kind of make everything just run smoothly. And thank you to all of you who spent time here and were involved in all the discussions. That's what it's about, is to discuss and take it further from there on. See you tomorrow. Thank you.